In the previous episode, Ralph and District Attorney Samuels were reeling from the shocking arrest of Terry Maitland, a beloved teacher now accused of a brutal child murder. Though they had rock-solid forensic evidence, fingerprints, and eyewitnesses, Terry's stunned reaction and a credible alibi from a conference miles away planted deep seeds of doubt. As the night wore on, Ralph returned home heavy with guilt, questioning whether he had acted too hastily. A tense conversation with his wife Jeannie opened a chilling possibility. What if the man in Cap City wasn't a fake alibi, but a real double? As reality frays, one thing becomes clear. This case isn't just complicated, it's impossible. Episode 4, Whispers. Well, Curtis, it's gotta feel good to be here without a rap sheet hanging over you. A nice change, right? It sure is. And riding shotgun in a cop car instead of cuffed in the back? Sweet. We hit 85 most of the way from Oakville. Lights flashing, siren wailing, full show. You're not wrong, it was a blast. What brought you to Oakville? Just soaking up the vibe. Had a few nights free, so why not? Ain't no crime in that, is there? Heard you were soaking it up with Lena Carver, who goes by Twinkle Star at her gig. You'd know, but she rode back with me. She dug the trip. 2 said it blew the bus out of the water. Most of that vibe soaking happened in room 412 at the Pinecrest Inn off Route 17, I take it. Nah, we got out some. Hit the grill house for dinner a couple times. Solid eats, cheap prices. Lena wanted to check out the shopping plaza, so we hung there a bit. They've got a laser tag arena, and I owned it. Bet you did. Did you catch wind of the boy killed here in Willow Creek? Might have seen a blurb on TV. You don't think I'm tied to that, do you? No, but you might know something about who is. How's that? You're on security at Rusty Nail, right? Part of the safety team. We don't say bouncer. Rusty Nail's a classy spot. No debate there. You were working Tuesday night, I hear. Didn't leave town till Wednesday evening. Tony Reed tipped you off about me and Lena heading to Oakville. Yeah, got a discount at the inn, 'cause Tony's cousin owns it. He was on shift Tuesday too, that's when I asked him to call his cousin. Me and Tony are close. We worked the door from 3 to 7, then the floor from 7 to 11. Floors by the stage, where the patrons sit. Tony also said you spotted a familiar face around 8:30. Oh, Coach Emma. You saying she's the one who did that, kid? No way. Coach Emma's legit. She coached Tony's nephews in youth soccer and track. I was surprised to see her at the Nail, but not stunned. You wouldn't believe the types we get. Accountants, doctors, even a pastor now and then. Like they say about Vegas, what goes down at the Nail stays at the Nail. Sure, you're as tight-lipped as a vault. Laugh if you want, but we are. Gotta be discreet to keep the crowd coming back. For the record, when you say Coach Emma, you mean Emma Kendall. Yep. Tell me how you ran into her. We don't just camp out by the stage, all right? Job's bigger than that. Most of the time, we're moving, making sure nobody gets grabby with the dancers or starts swinging guys get worked up. They can get rough. You know that from your beat. The stage area is the hot zone, so one of us is always there. The other roams checks the bar, the corner with the jukebox and dartboards, the private dance booths, and the restrooms. That's where deals happen, and if we catch 'em, we shut it down and show the guys the door. Coming from the guy with a record for possession and intent to sell. With respect, that's a cheap shot. I've been clean 8 years. Go to meetings, the whole deal. Want a urine test? I'm game. No need. And props for staying sober. So, around 8:30, you were making rounds. Right. Checked the bar, then headed to the hall to glance in the men's room. Saw Coach Emma there, just hanging up the payphone. Only one of the two works. She looked off, kinda out of it. You went quiet there. Just thinking back. She seemed dazed, you know. You really think she killed that kid? I figured she was just rattled. Maybe her first time in a place like Rusty Nail. Shakes some folks up, makes them act weird. Or maybe she was tipsy. I said, "Hey coach, your team ready for the season?" She gave me this blank look, like I was a stranger, even though I caught most of the soccer games Stevie and Stan played. And I pitched her a trick play for the midfield, which she passed on, because she said it was too much for kids. But if they can handle algebra, they can handle a play like that, don't you think? You're certain it was Emma Kendall? No question. She said the team was solid, mentioned she popped in to call a cab. Sounded like when I used to say I bought car mags for the articles when my mom found them under my bed. I went with the customers right at the nail, unless they're crossing lines. Told her there might be a cab waiting outside. She said the dispatcher already clued her in, thanked me, and headed out. What was she wearing? Blue shirt, jeans. Belt with a bird buckle eagle, maybe. Nice boots. Looked pricey. Caught my eye. Anyone else see her there? A couple of regulars nodded her way as she left. Don't know who they were, and good luck tracking Emo's guys don't admit they hit the nail. Not shocked she got noticed, though. Emma's kind of a big deal around here. Got some community award a while back. Saw it in the Herald. Willow Creek's small every one's face rings a bell, especially if your kids play sports. Parents know Coach Emma from soccer or track. Thanks, Curtis. This helps. One more thing. Small, but creepy if she's really the killer. Lay it on me. Just a fluke, no one's fault. She was heading out to check for a cab, right? I stuck out my hand and said, "Thanks for coaching Tony's nephews, Coach. They're lively kids, tough with their parents split. You gave them focus." Caught her off guard, I think, because she flinched before shaking. Solid grip, though. See this scratch on my hand? Her thumbnail nicked me. Barely a mark, almost healed, but it reminded me of my old street days. How so? Some rough type spikers, mostly used to grow out a thumbnail, sharp as a razor. Called it their stash nail, for cutting lines. Gave me a chill, that's all. The main room of the Willow Creek PD buzzed with tension as 4 Officer Stwo state police troopers and 2 county jail guards, all broad and imposing, waited for Emma Kendall. Despite her shock, Emma managed a wry thought. The jail was 3 blocks away, yet they'd rallied a small army for the short trip. "Wrists out," a guard said. Emma extended her hands, the cold snap of handcuffs biting her skin. She searched for Howie Gold, a flicker of panic rising like when she was 6, left alone on her first day of school. Howie sat on a desk, phone pressed to his ear, but seeing her, he ended the call and rushed over. "Don't touch the detainee," the guard warned. Howie ignored him, wrapping an arm around her. "It's going to work out," he whispered. Then, startling them both, he kissed her forehead. That kiss lingered as the officers led her down the steps to a county van parked behind a flashing state police SUV. So did his words, as camera flashes erupted and reporters shouted, "Have you been charged?" "Are you innocent?" "What do you say to the Petersons?" It's going to work out, Howie had promised, and she held tight to that. But it didn't. After the chaotic arrest at the festival relay race, Robert Ellison knew he couldn't play the friendly cop in any good cop, bad cop routine. So he leaned against the interview room wall, arms folded, observing in silence. He braced for another sharp glare, but Emma Kendall only flicked her eyes his way, her face blank, before turning to Ivan Petrov, who sat in one of the 3 chairs across the table. Watching Petrov now, Robert saw why he'd risen so fast. Outside the one-way glass, the DA had seemed merely young for the role. Facing Frank Peterson's killer, he looked younger still, like a law clerk mistakenly assigned to question a major suspect. A stubborn tuft of hair sticking up at the back of his head enhanced the act he'd slipped into. Eager novice, thrilled to be here. "Tell me anything." His wide, curious eyes seemed to say, "I'll buy it." "First day with the big shots, and I'm too green to doubt." "Ms. Kendall," Petrov began, I'm with the county DA's office. Nice opening, Robert thought. You are the county DA's office. You're wasting your time, Emma said. I'm not talking until my lawyer's here, but I will say you're facing a major wrongful arrest lawsuit. I get that you're upset, Petrov said, voice earnest. Anyone would be. Maybe we can sort this out now. Where were you when Frank Peterson was killed? Last Tuesday afternoon. If you were somewhere else. I was, Emma said. But I'll go over that with my lawyer first. His name's Howie Gold. When he arrives, I want to speak to him privately. That's my right, isn't it? Innocent until proven guilty? Quick pivot, Robert thought. A seasoned crook couldn't have dodged better. Absolutely, Petrov said, nodding. But if you're innocent, save it, Emma cut in. You didn't drag me here out of kindness. I'm a decent guy, Petrov said, leaning forward, eyes sincere. If there's a mix-up, I want to fix it as much as you do. You've got a hair sticking up back there, Emma said. Might want to fix it. Makes you look like that kid from those old sitcoms I watched growing up. Robert's lips twitched, but he stifled a smile. Petrov, thrown off, smoothed the tuft. It flattened briefly, then sprang back. Sure you don't want to clear this up? He leaned closer, as if Emma were making a grave mistake. I'm sure, she said. And I'm sure about the lawsuit. No settlement will cover what you did tonight, not just to me, but to my husband and daughters. But I'll find out what's fair. Petrov held her gaze a moment longer, then stood, the earnest facade gone. Fine. Talk to your lawyer, Miss Kendall. You're right. No mics, no cameras. We'll even close the blinds. Be quick. Maybe we'll wrap this up tonight. I've got a morning tea time. Golf? Emma asked, incredulous. Golf. A game where you chase a ball into a hole. I'm no pro at it, but I'm sharp at this, Miss Kendall, as Howie Gold will tell you. We can hold you 48 hours without charges. It won't take that long. If we don't resolve this, you'll face arraignment Monday morning. Your arrest will be all over the news by then, with cameras catching your best side. Petrov strode to the door, smug, likely still stinging from the hair jab. Before he could open it, Emma spoke. Robert! Robert turned. Emma's calm was unnerving, almost unnatural for the situation. Or maybe not some of the coldest ones settled into that calm after the shock, gearing up for the long fight. He'd seen it before. I'm not discussing anything until Howie's here, but I need to say one thing. Go ahead, Petrov said, eager, but his face fell at her next words. Dylan was the gutsiest runner I ever coached. Don't you dare, Robert said, voice shaking with anger. Don't let my son's name touch your lips. Not tonight. Not ever. Emma didn't flinch. I get it. I didn't want to be cuffed in front of my husband, my girls, and half the town either. So forget what you don't want to hear. Just listen. You owe me that, for the way you did this. Robert reached for the door, but Petrov touched his arm, shaking his head, glancing at the camera's red light in the corner. Robert shut the door and faced Emma, arms crossed. Her words would hurt, but Petrov was right. A talking suspect was better than a silent one. One thing often led to another. Dylan was maybe 4'9" back in youth track, Emma said. I've seen him since tried to get him on the soccer team last year, and he shot up 6 inches. He'll outgrow you by high school graduation, I bet. Robert stayed silent. He was tiny, but fearless on the track. Most kids that had eaten 11 flinch when bigger runners charge. But Dylan held his ground, even against wild sprinters who'd bolt with no control. Took a few hard knocks, never backed down. It was true. Robert had seen the bruises after practices. On Dylan's shins, arms, a vivid welt on his neck once. Those hits had driven Jeanette wild, and Dylan's running shoes didn't ease her fears. Every time he lined up, she'd grip Robert's hand, terrified he'd take a fall and end up concussed. Robert reassured her, but he'd been relieved when Dylan switched to badminton. The shuttlecocks were softer. Emma leaned forward, a faint smile playing. A kid that short usually gets pushed to the back, and I was hoping for that tonight with Timmy Lyle, letting him run his leg. But Dylan wasn't one to hang back. He'd chase any lead, no matter how fast the pack over his head or stumbling in the dirt. Some kids called him Dasher Ellison at first. Then one switched it to Flash, like the superhero, and it stuck. Robert hadn't known, maybe because it was a team thing. But he remembered Dylan's growth that summer, more laughter, lingering after practices instead of slinking to the car. He worked it out, mostly himself trained like crazy till he nailed it. But I showed him how to pace. Emma raised her hands, mimicking a runner's form. They were still smudged with field dust from setting up relay cones. Lean left, cut inside on the curve. Lean right, hold the outside. Don't lunge. Just glide through the stride at the last second. He picked it up quick. The kid started shouting, "Zip it, Dylan, zip it!" when he'd take the lead late in a race. Me and Gavin, too. That was his nickname that championship year. Zip it, Ellison. Did you know? Robert gave no sign, but he hadn't. Dylan never mentioned it. I taught him that, Emma said, voice soft. And you do this to me. In front of everyone. You do this. Robert's face burned. He opened his mouth, but Petrov was already tugging him toward the door, nearly dragging him. Petrov paused to throw one line over his shoulder. You did this to yourself, Kendall. Not Robert, not me. Outside, watching through the one-way glass, Petrov asked, You okay? Fine, Robert said, cheeks still hot. They're pros at getting under your skin. You know that, right? Yeah. And you know she did it. Case is locked tight. Which nags at me, Robert thought. It didn't before, but now it does. It shouldn't, with Petrov's evidence, but it does. Did you see her hands? Robert asked. When she showed how she taught Dylan to run, did you notice? Yeah. What about them? No long thumbnail, Robert said. Not on either hand. Petrov shrugged. She trimmed it. You good? Fine, Robert said. Just. The detention wing door buzzed and clanged open. A man strode in, dressed in weekend casual faded jeans and a Willow Creek Soccer Club tee, but his sleek briefcase screamed lawyer. Hey, Ivan, he said. And you, Detective Ellison, care to explain why you've arrested Willow Creek's 2016 Volunteer of the Year? Is this a blunder we can fix quietly, or have you lost your damn minds? Howie Gold had arrived. To County District Attorney Ivan Petrov. Willow Creek Chief of Police Ronald Whitaker. Willow County Sheriff Daniel Holt. Captain Avery Thompson, State Police Post 5. Det Robert Ellison, Willow Creek PD. From Det Lieutenant Unel Salazar, State Police Post 5. Date July 13th. Subject Benton Transit Hub, Benton. At the request of D.A. Petrov and Detective Ellison, I arrived at the Benton Transit Hub at 1:45 p.m. on the reference date. Benton serves as the primary terminal for ground transportation in the southern region, hosting 3 major bus lines, Greyhound, Continental, Star Line, and regional rail services. Standard car rental agencies, Hertz, Budget, National, are also present. Given the hub's extensive surveillance coverage, I proceeded directly to the security office, where I was greeted by Karen Voss, the security manager. She was prepared, with footage retained for 45 days in a fully digitized system, allowing me to review all recordings from the night of July 10th across 14 cameras. According to Cliff Embry, the Willow Creek cab dispatcher on duty that night, driver Willow Rainwater reported dropping off her fare at 9:25 p.m. The Coastal Express, which Rainwater indicated was the bus the subject intended to board, arrived at Platform 2 at 9:45 p.m. Passengers disembarked, and those continuing to Houston were cleared to board at 9:53 p.m. The bus departed at 10:05 p.m. Timestamps are precise, logged electronically. Boss and I examined footage from all 14 cameras, starting at 9:00 p.m. on July 10th for thoroughness, and concluding at 10:30 p.m., roughly 25 minutes after the Coastal Express left. Camera references are stored on my tablet, but given D.A. Petrov's urgency, I'll summarize findings here. 9:31 p.m. Subject enters via the east entrance, the primary drop-off for cabs and most travelers. She crosses the concourse, wearing a light blue shirt and jeans, carrying no luggage. Her face is clearly visible for 3 seconds as she glances at the digital clock overhead. Still image emailed to D.A. Petrov and Detective Ellison. 9:34 p.m. Subject pauses at a kiosk near the ticket counters, purchasing a magazine with cash. The title is unclear, and the vendor couldn't recall, though further inquiry could clarify. Her bird-shaped belt buckle is visible. Still image emailed to D.A. Petrov and Detective Ellison. 9:37 p.m. Subject exits through the Willow Street door, west entrance, mainly used by staff due to the nearby employee lot. 2 cameras cover this area. The subject doesn't appear on either, but Voss and I noted a brief shadow, likely her, moving left toward a maintenance alley. The subject did not purchase a bus ticket, either in cash or by card. After multiple reviews of Platform 2 footage, which is clear and comprehensive, I can confirm with reasonable certainty that she did not re-enter the hub or board the Coastal Express. My assessment is that the subject's visit to Benton was likely an attempt to create a false trail to mislead pursuit. I speculate she may have returned to Willow Creek, possibly with an accomplice, by hitchhiking or via a stolen vehicle. Benton police report no vehicles stolen near the transit hub that night, but Voss notes that cars in the extended parking lot could go unreported for days. Extended lot footage is available for review upon request, though coverage is incomplete and the cameras are outdated, often malfunctioning. For now, I recommend focusing on other investigative leads. Respectfully submitted. Det. Lieutenant Y. Salazar. See attachments. The report landed on Robert Ellison's desk late that Saturday night, a stark addition to the mounting evidence that both solidified and complicated the case against Emma Kendall. He sat in his office, the hum of the station's night shift filtering through the closed door, rereading Salazar's findings. Ivan Petrov slumped in a chair across from him, tie undone, his usually sharp demeanor dulled by the night's events. The media lights outside had faded, but the weight of their coverage lingered, a reminder of the public arrest at the festival relay race that had spiraled beyond their control. Robert tapped the report. She didn't board the bus. No ticket, no footage of her re-entering, just a shadow slipping toward an alley. Petrov rubbed his temples. So what? She fakes a trip to Benton to throw us off, then doubles back to Willow Creek? How? And why? Maybe she had help, Robert said, though the idea felt thin. Or she hitched a ride. Salazar's right could have grabbed a car from the lot. No reports yet, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Petrov snorted. You're reaching. Her prints are on the van, the bike, the stick. Witnesses people who know her put her at the market, the park, the bar. And now we're chasing shadows? Robert leaned back, the chair creaking. Emma's calm in the interview room gnawed at him. Her story about coaching Dylan's track team cutting deeper than he'd expected. Her alibi's the problem. Everett Roundhill called 3 times, furious, backing her Oakville story. Quaid confirms it. Grant will too, once I reach her. They were with her at the Maple Lodge, listening to Louise Penny, when Ellen Harper saw her with Peterson. Petrov's jaw tightened. Then she's lying, or they are. Or someone who looks like her was here, but the forensics don't leave prints, Blood, soon DNA. That's what we've got. Robert flipped open the report again, eyes lingering on the timestamp. 9:30. 1 p.m. Emma entering the Benton Transit Hub, 70 miles from Maple Grove Park, where Frank Peterson's body was found. If she was in Benton at 9:30, she wasn't in Willow Creek at 6:30 when Lila Harper saw her, blood-soaked. But if she was in Oakville at 2:30 for Penny's speech, she wasn't at Hanson's Market with Peterson. She can't be in 3 places at once. Petrov stood, pacing. You're letting her get to you. She's playing innocent, spinning a story. We need to hit Oakville tomorrow, pull hotel footage, talk to staff, confirm those teachers' accounts. If there's a crack in her alibi, we'll find it. Robert nodded, but doubt coiled tighter. The festival arrest, meant to be swift and decisive, now felt like a misstep. Emma's certainty, her detailed recounting of Dylan's nickname, Zippet Ellison, had shaken him. Could a killer erase their crime so completely, replacing it with a fabricated conference tale? Or was something else at play? I'm calling Salazar, Robert said, grabbing his phone. He's back tomorrow, but I want him on this tonight. He can start coordinating with the Maple Lodge's security team remotely. Petrov paused. Good. But don't let Pelly beat us to it. Gold's got him sniffing already. Alec Pelly's name hung heavy. A retired state police detective with decades of contacts, Pelly wouldn't need a warrant to access hotel footage with his network and Gold's backing. Robert dialed Salazar, who picked up on the second ring, his voice groggy but alert. Lieutenant, it's Ellison. Sorry to pull you from family time. We need you on the Maple Lodge footage in Oakville. Start tonight if you can call their security. Get a head start. Pelly's likely moving fast. Got it, Salazar said. I'll make calls now. Any specifics? Focus on Tuesday afternoon, 2 to 5 p.m. Conference hall, ballroom, exits. Look for Emma Kendall Blue, shirt, jeans, bird buckle. Confirm she was there, or if it's someone else. On it. I'll report by morning. Robert hung up, glancing at Petrov, who was staring at the report. If Pelly gets there first, it won't matter, Petrov said. He can't take the tapes or erase them. But if that footage shows her in Oakville, then we've got a problem, Robert finished. Prints, witnesses, and blood say she was here. Round Hill, Quaid, and hotel cameras might say she was there. One of them's wrong. Petrov's eyes narrowed. Or she's got a twin we don't know about. Robert didn't laugh. The idea was absurd, but the case was unraveling into something just as impossible. He thought of Fiona Adler's autopsy addendum, the bite marks, the missing flesh, the horror of it. A monster did that, and every piece of evidence pointed to Emma. Yet her alibi, backed by colleagues, pointed elsewhere. I'm heading home, Robert said, standing. We hit Oakville at dawn, you with me? Petrov nodded. Wouldn't miss it. But don't expect miracles. She's guilty, Robert. We'll prove it. As Robert left the station, the festival's distant lights flickered on the horizon, a reminder of the day's chaos. Emma's words echoed Zippet Ellison and with them, a growing fear that the truth was slipping through his fingers.